The 20th century has witnessed the rapid development of an all-new art form, the motion picture. In the 30 years before the talkies, many talented filmmakers pioneered the art. Some of the finest work was in comedy, and even the dramas were more entertaining than they were serious. Let us reacquaint ourselves with those days, not only with the names of the stars and directors, but also with their creative styles. Let us recreate Hollywood of the silent films, a Hollywood which can be called the Laugh Factory. Charlie Chaplin grew up in poverty in England, and he sought his fortune with the vaudeville troupe, bring him ultimately to the United States. He got his start in movies in 1914 as an obscure member of Mack Sennett's Keystone Clowns. One day, on location, he created the Little Tramp character, and he was launched to stardom. In each of the following vignettes, the Laugh Factory players brought the scenes to life through their own creative skills, in sets, costumes, makeups, and all other aspects of production. Here we see them recreate the Chaplin comedy, Getting Acquainted.
Says Mrs. Sniffles to Mr. Sniffles, "Stay here till I get back, and keep out of trouble." Well, here comes a born fool if ever I saw one. On guard. Look, a flock of flying turtles. Some people will fall for anything. The Empire is restored. Mr. and Mrs. Ambrose take a Sunday stroll. She must have a magnet in her purse. The attraction is undeniable. Where have you been all my life? They've been discovered. But one folly leads to another. It's a fair exchange, or is it? What's all this, then? Johnny Flatfoot doesn't approve of foreign affairs. the uncoupled couples are coupled once more. Another triumph for law and order.
The last of Chaplin's films for Keystone was his Prehistoric Past, which was a prototype of the dream sequence plot, followed by a rude awakening. Many of the Keystone films were satires, and this film was in some ways a parody of the D.W. Griffith film, Man's Genesis.
One day in the park, Charlie finds a good spot for a nap. Before sleeping on a bench, one must take several important measures. Off to dreamland. Behold, a kingdom of cavemen. Enter the ruler's woman. Charlie seeks the man in charge. But he also has an eye for the girl. Cave people catch on quickly. Later, a secluded rendezvous. We've got to stop meeting like this. Caught in the act. A triumph of martial arts. Good guys always wear black derbies. The ruler is awakened by the fool. Revenge! The fool lives up to his name. Now Charlie has his own private club. But the old ruler has a private club of his own. A rude awakening. What's all this then? Civilization once more.
Max Sennett was the head of Keystone Studios, which produced comedies full of pie fights, slapsticks, and confusion. The emphasis was on speed and movement. The following sequence is not based on a single film, but focuses rather on a helter-skelter creative process of Sennett Studios, here resulting in the introduction of his famous bathing beauties.
Max Sennett is besieged in his office by his irate director, Al Vito, and the cameraman. They want new stars and new plots. Sennett promises he'll come up with something. The director leaves impatiently. The agent, Mr. House, arrives with new proposal. Girls in artistic bathing suits. Sennett is not impressed with the idea or the portfolios, but it's better than nothing. At the back lot, Director Vito is having trouble with the Boy of Gettysburg, a temperamental star. Mr. House arrives. I'm the agent for the girls in the artistic bathing suits. Vito is not impressed, but anything might be better than the Boy of Gettysburg. The backlot is suddenly illuminated by a parade of beautied female pulchritudes. The director's aesthetic sensibilities are aroused. He has his stars. He has already forgotten about the Boy of Gettysburg.
Mary Pickford was America's sweetheart for over 2 decades. She was a symbol of beauty and innocence, as well as determined virtue amidst vigorous adventure. The film Sparrows portrays Mary as the leader of a group of orphans held captive and made to do slave labor by a villain who is collecting their maintenance pay.
The starving orphans are preparing a new potato patch. Tough little Mary is their leader. Their villainous guardian approaches. You'll have no bread tonight.
Here, kid.
I'll whip you one by one. Mary makes some points with her pitchfork. She knows they must run away. Into the forest they march. So too their nemesis. Mary's gentle courage calms their fears. Doubling back on them, their guardian has caught them.
Thought you'd get away.
In the nick of time, a hero. A father has found the son he thought was dead. He vows that they will find good homes.
Douglas Fairbanks was the prophet of optimism, the honest, likable American. He was heroic, but he always combined his action with honor and plenty of style. A former gymnast, he was born a prankster and a master of improvisation. It was the popularity of the film Zorro which convinced Fairbanks that he should do more swashbuckler movies.
A pleasant day in a Mexican cantina as the foppish Don Diego entertains the ladies. The arrogant captain and his sergeant seek the ladies' company. And the music is unappreciated. Philistines eject the sissy. Time passes, but the ladies are forced to stay. Don Diego returns as Zorro. The bully is bested. And Zorro cuts a Z in his coat.
Film serials began to be made in the years before World War I, and the most popular of these was The Perils of Pauline. Each episode was a complete story. The plots focused on action, excitement, rather than plausibility. The star, Pearl White, was a flamboyant personality, tougher than contemporary female stars. In each episode, the villain attempted to deprive Pauline of her inheritance. either by killing her or through extortion. Here we see another attempt.
The deceptive villain gives Pauline a tour of the sawmill. But he then demands her inheritance. Pauline runs and hides. She is found and bound. She will be tied to the sawmill. Unless she gives in, she'll be a split personality. The hero arrives. And Pauline is saved until next week.
John Barrymore had been a distinguished theater actor before coming to movies. He brought to the screen intelligence and control, as well as gallantry and humor. In Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, he enjoyed playing the dual role of the good doctor, whose evil side comes to light. And though much of the original novel was altered, audience loved the film as well.
Dr. Jekyll, kindly physician of Tinytown, was beloved of his patients. He helped them even when they could not afford to pay. The butler summons the doctor to the sitting room. Sir George and his daughter Millicent wish to invite the doctor to a party. But the doctor politely refuses. His work is too important. Will this portion of potion be potent? He becomes the evil Mr. Hyde. Unlike the doctor, Hyde has no patience. satisfied with his work, Dr. Jekyll now finds time for society. But his discovery is now out of his control. The lady runs, but not to hide, and Hyde corners Millicent.
Rudolph Valentino was an Italian immigrant who became a virtual cult figure. His exaggerated masculine seductiveness seems funny now, but in the 20s it drove women wild and made men extremely jealous. The Sheik was his most famous role, and best captures a style which shall forever be identified with him.
At the oasis, the emir plots to kill Ahmed, the sheik. His daughter, the Princess of Kuwait, begs for Ahmed's life. The princess warns Ahmed, but he is merely amused. His reassuring kiss uplifts her. But she cannot veil her concern. Meanwhile, the emir holds a beautiful English girl prisoner. She is defiant. She is also dizzy. Ahmed comes to save her. He pauses to draw breath. And yet another taste of England. Ahmed invites her to drop in. Ladies, beware that stare. Under Valentino's charm, women did things they ordinarily would never do.
The great movie cowboy of the 1920s was Tom Mix, an excellent horseman who had been a sheriff, a Texas Ranger, and a soldier. Concerned more with heroism than realism, he began the tradition of the colorful cowboy, and the historic Old West gave way to the romanticized Hollywood West.
Black Bart wants to buy Bessie's ranch, but she won't sell. Her father is also unimpressed. Black Bart decides to get rough. But see, yonder comes the hero, Tom Mix. Bessie's father explains, Meanwhile, back at the ranch, enter the hero. Bart tries to run off. Just for kicks, Mick picks the lasso tricks and licks this fix. The crooks are left in a bind. And the ranger rides off in search of a sunset.
Lon Chaney was the man of 1,000 faces, famous for his portrayals of grotesque characters, such as the Hunchback of Notre Dame. A master of makeup and pantomime, perhaps his greatest skill was his ability to breathe humanity into some characters and to withhold it from others. Here he plays the mad doctor launching an experiment on an innocent victim.
The nervous young man tells the detectives that he is worried for his girlfriend's life. He suspects the local mad doctor. In his lab, the mad doctor is preparing to turn the young lady into a monster, which is illegal. His deformed assistant helps. He hopes this solution is his solution. An unsterilized needle just to be mean. But the hero arrives in the nick of time. The mad doctor is foil again, and the kids have a laugh. But could a young man have loved a monster?
Laurel and Hardy had both been in the movies for about 10 years before they were paired, and even then it took several films to develop their unforgettable characters. Physically and in personality, they perfectly complemented each other. In the movie Big Business, the two set out to sell the gardener, Jimmy Finlayson, a Christmas tree in July.
defeat the Yuletide Rush in their latest enterprise. They review their polished sales techniques. Aha, an excellent customer, a man with a garden. The tree's virtues are explained. But the customer is reluctant. Stan tries the hard sell. Forget the hard sell. Ollie tries firm reasoning. They continue beating around the bush. They seem ready to call it a tie. That was the unkindest cut of all. Hardy decides to change the man's address. A crowd gathers. The man gives Ollie a dusting. What's all this then? The debate branches out and fails to get to the root of the problem. Jesus, a cup. Like the trees, they leave.
The films of the silent era were often produced in a spirit of spontaneous creativity, Characters, stories, and jokes were sometimes improvised on the spot. In recreating the stars and films of those days, our Laugh Factory players caught a sense of that flamboyant spirit. Enough to wonder what would happen if someone were to push the secret button, which would once again bring on the creative chaos of the Laugh Factory. What you're about to see are original routines, scripted, acted, and filmed entirely by our student filmmakers. At the end of the factory's assembly line, the packaged laughs are ready for shipping. Wow, that was a good one. Meanwhile, at the secret button, chaos! The laughs are loose. Anything can happen now. Charlie's fillet of sole tastes like shoe leather. Oops, too much tenderizer. A bit of the old soft shoe. Uh-oh, the owner. What a heel. And Charlie's meal ends up underfoot. Anyone have a hunch this is another Mad Doctor scene? Chaos. The film runs out. The director shouts, "Out of film! We're going to chop the victim's head off. We've got to get it in one take." Here, the lovers scene. The director proposes, but the actress disposes. Charlie receives his film assignment for the day. The others wonder how he gets by with the same old shtick. Thugs gather for nasty business. Pauline is in peril once more. Pauline feels she's on the wrong track. She will not be railroaded into giving up her inheritance. A hero is summoned. Charlie is brave, and his cane is able. And so, order returns to the Laugh Factory. Ladies and gentlemen, may we present our filmmakers, the background crew, the animation crew, the eyewitness crew, the sets and props crew, the still photographers, the lighting crew, the costume and makeup crew, our student directors and script coordinators, the work print crew, the cinematographers,
and finally, the teachers. And now, the Laugh Factory players. Instructional Media of the Upper Moreland School District.
Editing was accomplished by Matt Leonard, Sean Murphy, and Mr. William Thomas. Additional dialogue was scripted by Jeff Worthington, William Thomas, and Wendy Worthington. The entire production was scored by Mr. Laurel and Hardy. Our technical director was Mr. Ralph Abbott. The Laugh Factory was created and directed by Robert J. Clark, Jr.